My name is Reverend Kay Jones. I am the Oversight Minister for St John and St Stephen's with Shalom Youth Club. We're in the top 5% of the poorest communities in the country. So it's a really difficult area. So for me, my ministry is helping the people believe they are loved, they are cared for, and the people who work with me show that in every day.
The church here at St John and St Stephen is such a special place in the community. It really is the heart of the community.
I first came into Shalom when I was in a really vulnerable place. I was going back into active addiction in a bad way. You know, this is a hard area to live, so sometimes, you know, you can come here and you can be like in a bad way, mentally, emotionally, whatever, but you'll be cared about and you'll be met where you're at.
So we have a gardening club, we have a youth club, we have Bring the Family, we have teaching sessions, we have Bible study, we have Wednesday lunches, we have cleaning group, writing group. So it's a very busy place.
We've got one on the 21st of December, which is Saturday before Christmas.
If our doors open, everyone's welcome. It's important that we make people feel confident that this is a place that they belong. This is their parish, not mine.
For this church to be thinking about their environmental response and how they might get to net zero, it's about really offering hospitality and wholeness to a community who are just growing through engaging with environmental projects.
I think sometimes when you're going to think about what you want to change in a church, you think everything's massive, but not everything's massive. So we start small with little tiny projects like the gardening project. It wasn't a huge sum of money. Then on board came Lincoln University with their research programme, which gave us a bit more money. Then there was a neighbourhood education group came on board. They added a bit more money because they want to do community things, but they've nowhere to do them. Because it's not about the church providing everything. It's often about the church providing an environment where people can come together, community groups and churches. And when you then apply for funding for things like we need a new roof, we've got to seek funding for a new roof because
you can't fund something like solar panels on a dead building. The building has to have life going on in it.
And they go, oh, right, so you're actually going to do something that's good for our promotion as well as yours. So it kind of has massive knock-on effects to you getting funding. One of the things that's really important is people are living in a really built-up area. So they needed to have a space that showed them that nature is something that's good for them and being out in the environment is good for them. So doing a gardening project is good for mental health and well-being. They learn to socialise a bit more.
What I'm seeing is that a lot of people who were lonely and isolated are now coming together of all different ages, and being out in nature is such a sensory experience for everybody that you can't help but be calmed.
When you're digging away or planting or whatever you're doing, it just gives you a chance to switch off.
While we've been doing the gardening project, we've had our ups and downs. And a lot of it is with the young teenagers in this area. They kept coming and pulling our plants out. They were throwing stones at me one day when I was here on my own and I was outside. The next time we saw them, we were watering the garden. The few of us that were here that day were struggling to manage all the things we needed to do. And they were stood and taking the mickey a bit, and I just turned around and said, hey, you're fitter than we are. Why don't you come and water the garden? Well, I knew youngsters with a hose would end up soaking each other. But those kids carried on watering our garden with us whenever they were around. Instead of trashing it, they worked with us. Nothing ever happens at once. But I'll keep walking the journey till somebody goes, right, you're there.